welcome back to Wamen. Poe, welcome back. It's been a while.
It has, yeah. I've just got one question for you before we start, Birdie.
Oh dear. Yes.
Are you ready to make America great again? Again.
Oh, again.
I know you live under a rock a little bit.
I do.
In terms of internet culture, but I assume you're aware that there has been an election in America.
Yes, I very much. It's all right, Poe. I will not take offense to that because it's true. Yeah, regardless of how much I've tried to ignore it, it's you can't ignore something like that. Especially the amount of women who have piped up recently. So yeah, it's been a fun one.
Yeah, there's a lot of it being another another female candidate who's been beaten by Trump is a kind of reignited the gender war. But for anyone who's disillusioned, who hasn't seen the statistics, women came out for Trump big time in this election. That's women of every demographic, but other than I think single women. Although actually they didn't really check that on the data that I've seen, but there was one demographic of women who didn't vote for Trump, but I'm not going to go into that. This is a wholesome stream. I just wanted to say, well done, women of America. We're proud of you. You all voted.
Yeah, this is a wholesome stream. Let's not talk about Trump.
Okay, we're not. That's it.
Moving swiftly on. The main topic of this evening was something that you and many other people on the internet find hilarious, purely because of the fact that I don't get it.
Yeah, it was funny apart from that, but yeah. Do you want to jump right into it? Shall I introduce the segment?
Yeah, I'm showing this image immediately because I mean this is what you sent to me. So this is on you, Bo. This is all on you.
Okay, so I think that everyone knows about Wifejack except you, but I'll explain it to you to the audience. But really, I'm explaining it to you.
Yeah, just explain. This is the audience's rendition of if you had to ever explain it to somebody. This is how.
Yeah, this is the perfect way of explaining it. So Wifejack came to everyone's attention. I think mainly on Twitter was where it gained a lot of attention because people started sharing this image of a red-haired, kind of pretty but not extremely hot woman who's got the Wojak face shape. And she's a mid woman, yeah, and she just says very normal things that women say in a relationship, like not very whiny, not very naggy. Like sometimes she's passive aggressive, just extremely mundane, relatable things. And what was funny about Wifejack is that it was very polarizing because a lot of people thought Wifejack was funny and they were sharing the Wifejack meme with like their favorite thing that their wife says. Not their favorite. It's like mildly irritating things. But it's like the most people were like trying to one up each other with like what's the most mundane, like most quintessentially like wife material kind of thing to say. So we got a lot of this, but also that it became even funnier when women discovered the meme and didn't understand why everyone thought it was funny that this like ordinary woman was saying ordinary things because they didn't quite get the kind of subtle satire of it. So what we got is a lot of women not getting it.
I think that's why, you know, the normie women or women who live under a rock, such as myself, did not find it funny because it was just like, what about this is supposed to be funny? And I know me saying this is making it funnier for you and those who get the meme. So that's what we don't get. Yeah. It's like, I say this all the time. Why is that funny?
So
I'm assuming that's why it's funny.
In addition to women not getting it, there was an even funnier segment of women who felt personally attacked. Like they thought that the meme was sort of attacking women for being extremely annoying or saying like, well, you know, that women are just by existing and saying ordinary things, women are extremely annoying. I think we've got to see some more sort of Wifejacks for you to get it though. So this is a good one. Don't you need to be in the other lane? Like when imagine you're driving in the car. Do I have to explain these? I think you get it. You know, it's like
I get it. Yeah.
Don't you need to get in that lane?
I'm finding it funny because I've said some of these things.
Yeah, right. I've got "We're out of milk." That's a classic. I think everyone said that at some point, but it's
I said it
it's kind of so. If I had to really break down this meme, I'd say that a lot of things that Wifejack says are then not strictly demands. Like she's not saying, "Please go out and get milk." it's this sort of like a really gentle nudge, like just a constant nudging. Like, I'm cold, or like I'm hungry. Like, what are we having for dinner? Like, they're not.
Yeah.
She's very gentle, but she knows what she wants, you know, and she is a bit passive aggressive, but it's not that bad. It's like I think I've heard a lot of men say that it's like affectionately irritating. Like that's the sort of the vibe.
Irritating. Nice.
Okay, so we've got don't compost those. I'm going to make banana bread. Or don't compost, as some Americans say. Don't compost those. I'm going to make banana bread.
Yeah.
We have you're welcome. That's a very passive. I think this you're welcome was in like you know, when someone doesn't say thank you.
Yeah.
I just imagine the context. Yeah. You're welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, I do that a lot. I will openly admit I do that a lot, and to strangers as well, which makes it even worse. I say it to strangers.
Yeah. You're there's beard hair in the sink. I've never said that, but I felt it.
I've said that. Yep. I feel like this is just a list of my life, Pearl. I think that's why I'm finding it funny, is because it's just a list of things I say on a daily basis.
Okay. Have you ever said, "Don't watch the next episode without me"?
No. It's usually the other way around. It's the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've just got cows with like a crying happy emoji.
Yes.
When you see cows.
Every time. And I'm surrounded by cows. I live in the countryside. I see them all the time, and I will still go cows and point at them. Yep.
My car was.
Thing. I don't know why.
Yeah. My car was making a funny noise today. You ever said that?
No, I say the car because it's not technically mine. So I mean, I do tend to fret over the car making noises.
I don't want anything for my birthday. You ever said that?
Oh, no, that's something my mum says.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even though it's a blatant lie.
Do you want to try? I like this one. It's not, can I have some of yours? It's, do you want to try some of mine? Which is like the most manipulative way of asking for someone for your husband's food.
It's just our way of eating your food, basically.
Yeah. Will you show me how to fill up my tires? I've literally this is so prophetic. Like this, this literally happened to me. Yeah. I think that was all the. So those are just my favorite. Those are my favorite ones. There are other ones that I didn't find as. There were people who I didn't quite get it. I think, or maybe I didn't get it because a lot of them were a bit too mean spirited. And I think I'm not the only one who feels that way because they didn't have as many likes. I was trying to find the examples that had the most upvoted, that presumably were being upvoted by men. And there was also a husband Jack that went with Wifejack, he had like a lumberjack shirt and stubble. I didn't really like husband Jack so much. I think he was.
I feel like I've seen the husband Jack, but again, I just didn't get it. I just saw him as the stereotype.
We also had this the other variation. This is what kicked off the renaissance of Wifejack, because it kind of had it, like every meme, it lived and died about 6 months ago. Yep. And then recently it just randomly came back when someone posted this front-facing Wifejack who's more confrontational, like slightly more confrontational than the classic three-quarters profile. Yeah, straight
deadpan face saying we're out of milk. And then just walks off.
Yeah. Like it's just a slightly more threatening energy.
Yep.
So now that we've gone into I think you understand what Wifejack is now.
I think I get it. Yeah. I mean, I still wouldn't say it's the funniest meme out there. I get why people did it, and I know the whole joke of women felt personally attacked. No, I do, but I find it hilarious because of that, because there are so many things I have said. And still do say that directly relate to this meme. So I like the first time you showed this to me, Poe, I remember you saying you are Wifejack.
It's because you don't get it, that makes you
yeah. And I was like, oh no.
So we've the English Loyalist is posting his favorites, and I've got to say, where is your credit card is a good one.
There we go. Can you change the cat litter? Can you put your shoes on the rack? Where is your credit card?
Yeah, I like it.
Yep.
So the origins of Wifejack are, if you're interested, the person who drew this is the most Wifejack thing ever. It's just a woman on Reddit who she found the the Wojak meme. Like that's the original. If you don't know, the like white face. He's got kind of impassive expression and a bald head and no ears.
Yeah, that one I do know.
So that's Wojak. He's the original Jack, from which all of the like soy jacks and everything they come from him. Yeah. So this woman discovered that there was a soy jack and a Wojak and lots of different kind of Wojaks, and she wanted to draw one of herself. So she drew that original 3/4 profile. Like that, looks like her. There's a real life Wifejack out there who really looks like this, like the little necklace and the like kind of ugly grey top, and the cat. What do you call it? The eye cat eyeliner. It's like I like the detail that she went into it. I think it's just her like very neutral expression that does kind of make it makes her charming. Like it makes her likable.
Just a deadpan face. You're all for
but she's very gently smiling as well. Like she's not really pissed off at you. Like I think for a happy marriage, I imagine a happy marriage is for men is to have a wife who's like not too excited or annoying, but just like is content passively and doesn't it isn't asking for much. I think that's about what like the best you could expect from a marriage.
Just run out of milk.
Yeah, like okay, well. We're out of milk, but that's a really easy problem to solve. You know, like she's not really impatient about it. She's not nagging me about it. It's just that we're out of milk. And as soon as we get the milk, everything will be fine again.
Yeah, I feel like the whole reason, like the whole style of this is it is something very sort of menial. It's not, oh, I've maxed out the credit card and that walks off. Yeah, it's like, no, we've run out of milk. It's stuff, it's very small things that are very, you know, I'd say passive aggressive, but nothing major.
Before we came on air, you said something very Wifejack, which is I overheard you talking to your now husband. Congratulations on becoming Wifejack, by the way.
Thank you. I am now Wifejack. Yeah,
I actually think it was him who said it, but it was a very Wifejack thing to say, which is the MOT on Wednesday.
Oh no, yeah, he came in into the room and went to the calendar and pointed on it. He goes, "Oh yeah, no, the MOT is then." I said, "Yes, it's on Wednesday. You put it on the calendar last week." And then he walked out again. Yeah, so that's story of our lives, guys. That's the insight. All
right. Well, that's
super exciting. I know.
That is the segment. That's the beginning and end of Wojak. I think we could probably talk about the people who hate Wifejack. But really,
probably. I feel like they'd just be feminists.
So there was the women who felt personally attacked, who thought that any kind of complaints about women, no matter how lighthearted or misogynistic, and also there was a lot of men who just found it very irritating. And I think the consensus was that men who weren't married, who weren't in long-term relationships, didn't relate to it at all, and were just like their feed was just being clogged up by things that they didn't relate to.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it so many times on here before, but I do not spend that much time on the internet. And when I do, I don't follow the current memes or trends. So 9 times out of 10, I don't get it. So, I mean, when these memes come along, I do get to them very late. Which is it's a running joke in the Wamen Hour group of another meme. Let's tease Birdie about it because we know for a fact she hasn't got a clue what this thing is.
Yeah, it's a good format for a podcast, though. I think if we both turn up and we both know the same amount about something, then
it's boring.
We're at a bit of a stalemate. So I think next time you find a meme that you don't understand, you should bring it to me or one of the other women, and we'll try and see if we can explain it. Or we can do the opposite if I find something I don't understand.
I'm going to stockpile memes. If you want any like trad life living advice or how to grow certain vegetables or how to make wholesome food, I'm a girl. But when it comes to memes and online life, I haven't got a bloody Scooby. Not a clue. Not a clue.
Do you have anything that you wanted to bring, or should I launch straight into Tweed?
The only one I was going to bring up was I sent you a newspaper article earlier today that I received earlier today, and I couldn't help but laugh because it was a newspaper article that does feature myself and Alex. Our wedding made it into the paper, and they release it on. It's a local paper, and they release it online first, and then print it in next week's edition. Okay, so we saw the article brought up online, and I was reading through it, and I thought, this is why media sucks, because we both know the editor of this newspaper, and he came to us last week or so, asking about the wedding, because when you have steam engines outside the main church in the wedding and random public lining up and you have no idea who they are, it does tend to draw attention. So
I've oftentimes seen like quirky weddings being advertised. It's like you got to be pretty quirky to get into like even a local paper. These days. So like it really made me laugh that you had become like one of those couples that people go like, oh, they had a Shrek themed wedding.
Yeah, I'm so glad that wasn't the case. It was not a Shrek themed wedding, but yeah, having a steam engine at the wedding does get you in the local paper. Yeah, so I was reading through it, and the only thing that came to mind, obviously everybody knows, or if you don't know, you do now. My husband's name is Alex, and everybody who reads this newspaper either knows of us or they know that, what our first names are. And the only thing that came to mind was, who the fuck is Mark? Okay, now I'm saying that because it was absolutely fine, and then I started getting a few messages through from friends going, who is Mark? Who's Mark? Who is this guy? And of course they've read this paper and thinking, oh my god, his name's actually Mark. She's married Mark. And I'm like, no, stop believing media. Stop believing everything you read. So I've had to go and contact the newspaper and say, you've cocked up here, because they got his name right to begin with. And then they said, there was a sentence, they quoted something Alex had said and then says Mark. And then in the next paragraph it says, Mark is the chairman. I'm like, no. So of course we're all sat there thinking, who the fuck is Mark? Where did they get this name from? And we were emailing this guy last week, and I was thinking to myself, like, is there anywhere in the email where a Mark was mentioned or anything? Absolutely nothing. So don't believe the media, folks, because even when you tell them exactly what happened, they'll still fuck it up. So so we've now had to emergency get hold of the local paper to make sure they don't print that copy and actually fix it before they print it out, because I'll be laughing about that for years. For it would be Birdie, and obviously not Birdie, my actual name, but Birdie and Alex's wedding. And I'll just put underneath saying, who the fuck is Mark? Because nobody knows. We will never know of who this guy is. I did ask the person who I contacted. I said, who is Mark? Because we don't know who this guy is, and you've some reason said that I've married him. So there we go. Media, don't believe media, because it's it doesn't matter how local you may be or how much detail you give them, they will still cock it up. So
maybe they gave it to the intern to do it or something.
No, well, but it was the editor. Apparently, it was the editor, and I thought that's literally his job. But then again, it's his job, so it's probably getting more viewings because it's got.
Have you ever done that thing where you are typing or writing and then you're also having a conversation, or you've got the TV on, and then you just type a completely wrong word?
Yeah.
I wonder if he was doing that, like he was having a conversation with his wife about someone called Mark, and then he was like, he didn't want to put his pen down for a second.
It's so weird, because most of it makes sense. There is a couple of typos on the online one, and I'm thinking, if this is what you're publishing, there's a few typos and you've got the name wrong, but the rest of it is absolutely fine. These days. Absolutely no standards. I proofread everything, so I'm like.
It does remind me of like there's it reminds me of when my daughters were baptized in church, and the vicar got the name of the godfather incorrect. Like he was introducing all of us, so we were all standing there quite awkwardly, and he got the name incorrect, and like me and the rest of the what do you call it, like the rest of the baptism party were like trying to get his attention, like no, that's not. But because he'd already launched into his preamble, it was like we were like basically were like having to flag him down, like waving our arms in the air, like no, because it's like part of the I don't know. I guess we could have let it slide, but then we were standing behind him, so everyone in the congregation could see us going, no, no, no. But he was like the only person who couldn't see. So in the end, I think it was probably much more embarrassing for the vicar than it was for any of us. But yeah, we couldn't just let it slide after drawing attention to it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's really awkward because it's one of those things where everybody's watching and you want it to be perfect, but then as soon as like the vicar cocks up, you're like, I can't correct you. How am I supposed to mention this?
And I should have just let it slide, really.
Yeah, just like, no, I'm not going to ruin it. But people will remember that, which I always find funny. And because you've now given me permission, I can mention you were at our wedding. And you mentioned vicar, which it springs to mind every time, and I find it hilarious. For some reason, my laptop won't screen share, so I can't show a photo of this. But I have put photos on my Twitter, so go and have a look at those. And people don't notice it until I point it out. Now, our vicar was stood on a box because she was so tiny that during rehearsal, you couldn't see her. And she just kept jokingly saying, I'm just a voice. Nobody can see me. I'm just a voice. So at the rehearsal, we're like, right, we need to find her a box. So our best man went and found her a box. And we were terrified because we're like, no, she needs like a step to get up to this box. So when she's got a gown on, etc., and I don't want the vicar falling over. So people don't notice until you point out that the vicar has actually stood. I don't just mean a little box. You'll probably agree with me here, Poe. It wasn't a little box. Oh, brilliant! You just found it.
I've got the picture. Yeah, it's a really fancy box. Like it's not like a crate.
It's a hell of a box.
It's an apple crate or something. It's you found just the right thing.
I don't even know what it is. That is not a small box though. I mean, that box is nearly up to Alex's kneecaps. It's hilarious.
Like you two are not that. You're not short. You're not that tall. But you're like I'm shorter than you, and that vicar was very small. Like she's not like a tiny, normal.
Absolutely minute.
Basically a hobbit.
She was basically a hobbit. Yeah, it was really funny. And I think that Alex is grinning there because that's when he jumped the gun and just said I will before she'd finished.
That was funny. Yeah,
just jumped into it, and of course that made everybody laugh.
I like that it shows eagerness.
Yeah, just jumped in like, let's get this done. I'm like, oh my god, okay.
Will you, Alex, take this woman? I will.
Yeah, literally, it was. Will you, Alex, take this woman?
Yes.
And then I was like, I will. Just jumped in. I was like,
no, it was good.
This is awkward. It did make everybody laugh.
It was good, yeah.
There were a lot of chuckles, and I have to admit, our vicar is quite funny. She I feel like she was quite chilled and made everybody laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she was. It was good. I wasn't sure if is it normal to have a sermon in a wedding? Like I feel like I've been to weddings, but probably been to too many secular weddings, to be honest. People don't really get married in churches enough these days.
It's true.
But is it normal to have a sermon in the service? Like I feel like that's not that typical.
Well, I'd say for a high church wedding, that church specifically is quite a traditional church, very traditional church. So they do like to do their ceremonies, especially our vicar. She likes to do very traditional ceremonies. She gave us the option to have 4 hymns. We went with 3 because we were like, yeah, 3 is probably enough.
I thought 3 was quite a lot.
Do you think 3 was quite a lot?
No, I think it just goes to show how traditional she is. It's like
massively. And it wasn't until sorry, I've just had a comment from Not So Obvious.
Yeah, Mark.
From Mark. Who even is Mark anyway? Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Yep.
No idea who this Mark guy is. It was ridiculous. So she's very traditional, and it wasn't until because we had our rehearsal on the Thursday, so it was only 2 days before, not even 2 days before. The wedding on the Saturday. Oops. That's our next topic.
Oh yeah, you can't wait, can you?
I can't wait. As an owner of that specific brand, I cannot wait. We will jump into that in 2 seconds. She wanted family members to read out the prayers, which was also something I was very not awkward about, but I thought it's already complicated enough. I don't need like family members reading out the prayers. But we did. Two of the family members agreed to do it, and I was like, well, if they want to do it, then that's fine.
Something that stood out to me was when the vicar asked your father if he was going to give you away, which is a part of the service that I think you said, after we talked about it later, you said that
Yeah.
a lot of weddings, the vicar will do it sort of under their breath, like just privately,
Yeah, just
as
discreetly
the bride. Yeah.
Yeah. So normally, as you're walking up the aisle with your father, when you get to the aisle, when you get to the end of the aisle, the vicar will say, you know, who gives this person away, and then your dad will say, I will, or I do, sorry, because he's actually the only one who says I do in a wedding now. So I will read some comments out in a minute because they are getting a bit chaotic. So now, yeah, so again, our vicar, she likes things to be very traditional, and she did mention in the rehearsal that she does like everyone to hear. And she said, you know, the dads don't really get a place in church. It's kind of like walk up the aisle, that's it, they go and sit down. It's all about, you know, the bridesmaids and the bride and the groom and whoever does the readings and things. So she said she liked to do that. Hello.
Did I tell you that your dad's speech at the reception made me cry? Like, it was an amazing speech.
Yes, I'm so glad. I feel like that was his aim, was just to make everybody cry. Also, you just scared the shit out of me by yelling bloody over the microphone. Jumped a mile. Good. No, I mean, not good. But no, that's adorable. I did have people coming up to me afterwards saying, you know, your dad made me cry. I feel like that was what we needed, though.
No, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I'm there for, is the emotional, like, catharsis. Like, I'm not there to have a pleasant conversation. I'm there for the feels.
I want the dramas. I want the feels. It's yeah, you want to feel something at a wedding, right? Else it doesn't feel real. I was a little bit worried about what my dad was going to say. I have to admit, I had no idea what he was going to say. I knew he was going to bring up some stories from my childhood, but the one about the teddy, I did forget about that. I have to admit. So for those who don't know, Poe's already laughing because I was in stitches when he reminded me of that. When I was in preschool, so about 4 or 5 years old, I decided, I was holding a teddy, and I looked around the room to make sure no one was watching, but clearly they were, else this story would not exist. I looked around the room and then proceeded to drop kick said teddy across the room. And I feel like it's so memorable because of how well I did it. That's what I'm taking from that. Is I did it so well.
That's quite coordinated for a 4-year-old, you know.
Exactly.
To
exactly.
get it across the room.
I mean, I'm taking that. I drop kicked my teddy, and yeah. Which bit made you cry, Poe? I want to know now.
I think it was like when he started to get like a little bit cut, like he didn't like break down and sob or anything, but when he started to get a little cut up, it was so obvious how much he cared about this moment and how much he cared about you, that it was just really touching. And I was imagining being in his seat, 20 years down the line with my own daughters getting married, and like listening to my husband make a speech and talking about her kicking teddies across the room. It was just all wound up with like my feelings about my own kids, and then like watching how much he cared about you.
Yeah, I feel like it. Don't start crying on me again. I don't know what I'll do. I feel like it does make it a bit more real when you go to people's weddings and you think more about your own family. I know that sounds strange, but you start thinking about your husband, your kids, your immediate family, and down the line, as you say. Whereas, for me, I'm just kind of sat there, and if you haven't noticed, I hated being center of attention. Hated it. It was horrible.
I think they call it a blushing bride for a reason. A blushing bride.
I started getting major hot flushes when because our top table was on a stage, so we were actually looking down on two long tables. Can
I just say, we walked in and sat down, and it was like a Viking banquet. It was these long wooden benches with this high table at the top, and this is like kind of it was like a Viking longhouse. It was kind of dark.
Right, absolutely. Actually, the header on my Twitter at the moment on my page is that room, is the dining hall. So I mean, Alex got his church wedding, and I got my my pagan hall. So there we go. As proof. It was. I hated being center of attention, and it was Alex's idea to put the top table on the stage. because originally it would have been level with the other tables, but being higher up, it meant we could just about see everybody, and it did have an open log fire down the end, so I was just sort of trying to stare at that the whole time. But I was getting major hot flushes and then trying to hide behind my fan because I was dying up there. It was so hot. So I need to get out. I need to get out. And we didn't even have the candles near us. All the candles were on your table. So I mean,
yeah, those candles were they were really like
it was
nice. They were like dripping all over.
Honestly, I'm amazed somebody didn't get caught on fire. I'm amazed. The amount of people sort of leaning over and their ties leaning on. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for somebody just to catch the beard on fire or something.
Making rather merry we were.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been a Viking.
And can I say, I bragged about it to everyone I met for the next week. I was like, by the way, did you know I won a competition for singing hymns at a wedding this weekend?
Absolutely. So for context, for those who don't know, we on the back, as we mentioned earlier, we did 3 hymns, so quite extensive judging going on. But the last hymn happened to be Jerusalem, obviously. And
a belter,
an absolute belter. You've got to belt that one out. And I still don't know how it happened, but we ended up facing the congregation. And our vicar, she was very loud herself. Our vicar was quite a loud singer, a good singer, but very loud.
You should have given her the prize.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been a bit taboo if we ended up giving the vicar a prize for best singing.
She gets the most practice there, doesn't she? I mean,
exactly. So that's kind of cheating. And I was like, no, it needs to go to one of the guests. And in the back of my head, because it was a choice of a couple of people, and we were watching, but of course me and Alex kept giggling during Jerusalem because we were sort of trying to belt it out and giggling at the same time, because on the back of the order of service, we'd written prize for best singing of hymns, but the vicar had spotted that, so she ended up sort of announcing it to everybody, which I feel like made everybody nervous. I'm like, oh no, we must get it right. And there's a little story behind this, because I knew what the prize was, and I had no idea what Alex had done with it. And it was a giant Toblerone. So I hope you enjoyed that, Poe. And
I did.
I was just eating it all for you. So it was this giant Toblerone, which of course was presented later. But we stood in church thinking, oh, yeah, we'll do a bit of judging here. We're watching everybody. And then when we sat down for dinner, I said to Alex, like, we need to give the prize out. I think just before his speech, was it? I can't remember now. I think it was. Yeah. So we're all sort of, everybody's sort of looking at us. And I said to Alex, but where's the prize? Where's the Toblerone gone? And myself and some of the party had set up that room we went on a minute ago, the Viking room, as Poe calls it, the day before. Banquet hall. We'd set it up on the Friday night. I can't remember when the wedding was now. On the Friday night. And unbeknownst to me, Alex had snuck this Toblerone under my chair. Now, because I had quite a bit of material, it was basically by my feet for the whole of dinner, and I didn't notice. And he was like, no, it's by your feet. It's by your feet. So what do you mean it's by my feet? He said, no, try and get it. And then you've got me and my dad sort of fumbling under the table, trying to get this bloody Toblerone out because it's like wedged. Because we can't really move backwards, and you can't move the table forwards because we're on a stage. So yeah, that Toblerone had been there the whole time, and even I didn't know about it. But the thought process that went through my head there, Poe, was there was a couple of people who were up for this prize, and the first thing I thought was, who's the most introverted person here who really doesn't want to come up on stage to accept this prize? And half of me went, a lot of people don't know who she is, so this is going to be hilarious. And I was like, no, to be fair, I heard you, which makes a big difference. So if I can hear you, and there were over 100 people in that room, so there you go. There you go. There's proof.
Your usher recognized me, by the way. He was. He was like the only person there who knew who I was. Maybe other people who knew and didn't know.
Yeah, that probably would have been Alex's youngest brother. Yeah. He watches many YouTube videos, so I think he knows who you are.
I got many compliments about my cape from your friends and family, which made me like them a lot. Although one of your cousins was a little bit rude about it.
Oh no, which one? Name them now. Name and shame. Name and shame.
He was wearing a bright purple suit.
Oh yeah, he'll do that.
No, he was just big. He was just cheeky. He was like
he's very cheeky. He's lovely, but he was very cheeky. The last time I saw him, so this particular cousin is now over 6 foot. In a it was quite a bright purple suit. I called him a crayon, so I mean, but he's my second cousin. Yeah, weirdly, he's my second cousin.
Oh yeah,
that's how big my family is. I'm so sorry, Poe. You got traumatized by my family.
No, it was. I can give it as good as I can take it, So
I'm so glad. Because when we arrived in the car, I sort of saw everybody there, and then I pinpointed on you because I was like, there she is. I will get a hug off her before she did, because there were so many people there. I was running around making sure I saw everything. I still don't think I did manage to get around to everybody.
That's the wedding experience.
Yeah, I was like, I have to get to that cape. I have to get to it.
Yeah, we'll get some pictures of that next episode when we get around to it. I mean, I think you've seen the cape before. I've got a short on my channel if anyone who hasn't seen that already.
Yes,
me wearing the cape.
See, I do have a cape, but it's not as extravagant as yours. Mine's a shorter one, and it has got the armholes.
That's helpful.
And it's a woolen one. So on woolens, do you want to talk about your top?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, this is more like a kind of I guess it's like a cape update. So my adventures in fashion, I basically used to be a very boring dresser. I would only basically wear t-shirts and jeans because I was kind of self-conscious about my appearance. Like I wore a lot of hoodies and trainers, and probably since maybe like in the last 5 years, I've been going on a very slow, methodical adventure into being more adventurous with clothing and trying to sort of find a personal style that sort of incorporates my values, sort of traditionalism and good quality materials. And the cape is part of that. I also had a somewhat popular tweet recently about how I've been completely jeans and hoodies free for 2 years. I think I've worn jeans once in the last 2 years, and that was when I was like decorating or something that's very jeans worthy. And so I tweeted about that. And then I also, when I was just going through my clothes recently, and I'm like, I don't really wear these trainers. So I think I should just like add that to the list of things I don't wear and just get rid of the trainers because they're taking up too much space. I'd rather just not have them and then not wear them and wear something a bit nicer instead. I'm not sporty, right? I don't need trainers. I'm not going for a run. I'm not going to play tennis. Like, I really don't need trainers. And then my most recent fashion exploit was getting some Harris tweed after being completely won over by some marketing on Twitter. So someone made a thread on Twitter that just had it was an image of the British Isles with the Outer Hebrides of Scotland circled. If you don't know, the part of Scotland that looks like some fingers sticking out towards the west, where it's basically as far from civilization as you can get in while still being in the United Kingdom.
I just want to move there at this point, to be honest. I'm gone.
But the Outer Hebrides, apparently, according to this thread, and I believe it because I saw it on the internet, is the home. It's the only home of Harris Tweed, which is a tweed company.
Traditional,
and that is because the Hebrides is so cold and windy that I'm not sharing my picture of a sheep. They have some very woolly sheep there. Like the wool of these sheeps. The wool of this sheep is even warmer and higher quality and more sturdy than most normal sheep. So this company Harris Tweed is I believe it's very, very old. What does it say the date on here? You think there'd be like an established 1750 or something. Maybe it's one of those marketing things where they're pretending to be an old company but they're not. But apparently they all of the wool that they grow, all of their tweed is made from wool grown from these Hebridean sheep. And it's sort of hand woven there on a proper loom. So I really just immediately fell in love with this idea of like having at least one garment that is woven from the wool of Hebridean sheep, like that's actually passed through the hands of proper Scots, and not sewed together in a sweatshop in Bangladesh, like a lot of clothes that you can buy, even from very expensive retailers these days, use offshores and like bad working conditions. And I really like the idea of just like owning something that kind of represents what the kind of clothes that I want to wear more, which is just stuff that's sturdy, stuff that's warm, it's going to last a long time, and a skirt that you can wear in winter. I kind of got attached to this idea of like having a really thick woolen skirt made from the same kind of stuff as my cape, which is extremely warm. Excuse me. So I ended up going on Vinted. This is not an advert for Vinted, by the way, but I have to say I did grab a great bargain from Vinted because someone was selling a slightly damaged wool skirt by Harris Tweed, which is usually probably, if it was bought new, it would be something like £200, which I'd rather not spend. But getting it secondhand, it was I think £4 because the lining was damaged. But I didn't want the lining is just whatever. Like I don't care about the lining. It's the tweed. The tweed is what's important. I can fix the lining, So I ended up getting this brilliant bargain, and I've just been wearing it probably more than I should, because if you wearing like a tartan skirt, it comes down to my shins, and I think it's probably too distinctive. People are wondering why I'm like a cartoon character, like wearing the same clothes all the time. But that's my adventures in clothing to be continued.
Adventures in clothing. Yeah. I mean, I can completely agree with you. I do have a couple of Harris Tweed items myself. I don't have any items of Harris Tweed clothing as such. I do have a pair of gloves and a matching bag. And the bag it's quite a big bag, I have to admit. And I did buy it new many years ago when I didn't have a house. When I actually had money. But it's going strong. It is going strong, and the matching pair of gloves again going strong because it's, as you say, it's very strong woven wool, and 90% of the time they will use real leather. Now, I know so many people out there like, oh, they shouldn't be using leather and they shouldn't be using wool, and I'll just fuck off. It's the best stuff you can get if you want it to last. If you actually want something to last, you are doing yourself and everybody else a favor. I've got quite a few woolen skirts that I do wear over the winter, and a few I'll say they're fake wool because they're made of various forms of other materials.
Vicos or
but it's the best thing you can get. And actually, I don't know if you've ever been, Poe, and if you haven't, I would definitely recommend it. There's a Harris Tweed shop in Edinburgh, but it's not just the shop. It is, again, this is not an advert, but they do have the weaving mills downstairs, and you can actually go and see them, because it started off in the Outer Hebrides, because that was the type of weave that was basically the strongest you could get, and then Harris Tweed started off as a company and kind of adopted that Outer Hebridean tweed, the weaving pattern. It was so, not dense is the wrong word for it, but strong and hard wearing. As you say, it will last you a lifetime, if not longer, if looked after. And again, people think it's gross, but you actually shouldn't wash your tweed. You just hand wash it. Don't put it in a machine, for God's sake. Please do not put it in a machine if you have already. Good luck.
Learning to properly take care of wool has been a bit of a journey for me as I try to use more natural fibers.
It is a learning curve. It is a
learning curve. Leather as well, because the thing is, when you buy these quality items, you want them to last, and they will last if you treat them right.
Yeah, definitely. And it is a learning curve completely throughout the whole thing, but it's one that you're quite happy doing. I mean, even people who have leather sofas, even though it might not be real leather, you still need to take care of it, So even if you start off with that, I mean, my leather gloves, I have not waxed them in so long, and you need to do that. You need to keep your leather soft. If it starts drying out, you're in trouble. It's the same with your woolen items, and we don't just mean like even cardigans. I can guarantee there are more people out there than they even realize they've got a woolen cardigan and they've been washing it wrong this whole time. And when we say washing it wrong, they probably think, oh yeah, but it comes out fine. Okay, but one, it won't last as long. Two, you've shrunk it. Three, it's not as soft as it should be.
Yeah.
And you're actually wearing it quicker by doing that. Whereas if you take care of it properly, it will last a hell of a lot longer. And the whole nonsense of, yeah, but you can't get it clean. Yes, you can. If you do it correctly, yes, you can.
We've talked about shaving wool as well, because this is something that I had. We've
like
come
shaving
along. So I was
shaving the actual.
No, shaving the garment. So
yes,
when,
okay, yeah,
debobbling, as I guess you could call it, because
yeah,
we ended up. My husband bought me a razor, like a like a wool razor. It looks like
where's this going? Oh, I need some context.
It's a large egg shape, and on the bottom, it's kind of like a men's razor where it's got a blade that passes over a kind of mesh. So the bobbles of your cardigan or whatever it is sort of come up through the mesh and they get cut off by the blade. And what it ends up being is just this very satisfying experience of running this egg that's like gently humming. You run it over your garment, and you can wear it. Like it's not gonna hurt your skin or anything.
I feel like if somebody tuned in right now, that without any context, they're gonna get some weird comments, Bo.
You know, maybe I should find an image of this. So anyway, it just takes away all the bubbles from the wool, and it's actually it's very fun to do it as well. It's not like a chore. It's very satisfying.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, but it is.
It makes this kind of grinding sound as it eats up all the as it eats up all the bubbles. But you can hear it get in them.
The first time you used it, did you find that you felt like you were going to make holes in your jumper?
Yeah. I mean, it feels wrong to put the razor like so close to this thing that you care about.
Yeah, it does. I'm like, oh, I'm going to rip holes in it, but it's actually fine. It's not a problem.
Yeah, so that's a strong recommendation from me. Wear wool, wear Harris tweed if you can afford it. Leather,
get it secondhand.
Oil your leather, and shave your wool garments, and they'll
shave your woolens. That's it. Quote from this show is shave your woolens.
You can take that to the bank.
It's true, and shop secondhand if you can, because
absolutely, because some people will just get tired of it. Like there's so much stuff on secondhand, vintage shops, charity shops as well. If you're willing to go into lots quite frequently, there's always like good finds, but you have to sift through a lot of haystack to get to those needles.
Absolutely, yeah. And the amount of things you can find. I mean, again, not naming names, but the particular app that you mentioned earlier, I have used myself more than once. And we all know you're a fan of Timberlands, Po. Again, other brands are out there. But I managed to find a full, almost knee-high lace-up pair of brand new Timberlands that this woman didn't like, and she sold them to me for a tenner. Now, anybody who knows those shoes, they're worth £200-300 brand new. So I was expecting scuff marks and terrible soles and whatever. I just needed a pair of sturdy shoes to walk to work in. And when they arrived, they were still in their box, brand new, tissue paper. I thought, you silly, silly woman. She had no idea what she was selling. And you do get gems like that occasionally. You just have to keep looking. Just keep going on there. And it's the same with, as you say, with the charity shops. People always turn their noses up with charity shops, but I don't. You never know what you're going to get. You never know what.
And it's for a good cause.
It's for most of the time. Most of the time. You never know. You never know.
On the subject of leather, before we drop the subject completely, I think, I used to be a vegetarian. I used to be against leather and meat and all kinds of things. That was a long time ago. But I think the thing with leather is it really is a completely different universe to wearing various kinds of plastic on your feet. For the shoes especially, but it also goes for sort of jackets and bags, like things that look like leather. They might look all right to, when they're new, they'll look all right to passers-by. Like maybe you can impress some people and it'll look nice. But really, leather is just a completely different ball game. It's an amazing material. It's just, it's what's been used for hundreds, thousands of years by people to stay warm, to stay dry. And it's grown by animals, like evolved over billions of years to keep animals warm and dry. And that's it's an amazing material, and that's I think important. If you care about looking good and having clothes that matter to you, then having a really good pair of leather shoes will last for a very long time. And even getting them fixed up by a cobbler is not something I've ever done, but it's something I've been thinking about. It's like, if I had a really good pair of leather shoes with a sole that had like worn through, like, would I get the sole replaced instead of getting new shoes? Like, I'm starting to consider that as an option because the shoes are so good.
Yeah, do it. I mean, my goal is, I am quietly saving up. Alex doesn't know this. I'm quietly saving up for a decent pair of proper leather shoes that I can wear day in, day out. Because, like you say, I mean, modern shoes now, they do not last. Now, I had a pair of this is going back in time. Now, I had a pair of school shoes which were leather, and they were sort of your little lace-up boots. I would say very Victorian style, but that I love that style of shoe, and I find them very comfortable. And this little pair of shoes, because my feet haven't grown since I was about 10, I do have very small feet. I had this same pair of shoes for a good 15 years, and I got them resold 3 times in that period of time. And I finally had to let them go when the actual material itself, it was part leather, part material, just disintegrated. Basically, the actual shoe gave way. But I did go and get them resold at the cobbler in town, and he's still there. Our little cobbler, he is still there. And I've got a couple of pair of shoes now that I'm tempted to go and take to him and say, can you fix these up? Then they're not leather, but you can do it for a lot of shoes. And 9 times out of 10, if you've got a decent cobbler, they won't just do the soles of your shoes. They will actually help you fix up the main bulk of the shoe as well if it's needed. Which it can be cheaper than buying a brand new pair of shoes. If it is a decent pair of shoes, it is cheaper to go and get them fixed than it is to go and buy a brand new pair, even if somebody else is doing it.
Yeah, that's worth it. And also, you have to consider the cost of wearing in shoes as well, because the shoes you've been wearing for years, or a few weeks even, will be fitted to your foot, and that's something that you can't always put a price tag on. It's just your own comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to get a pair of shoes that are completely fitted to your foot unless you spend a silly amount of money on them, which people don't have these days. So get yourself a decent pair of leather shoes and buy some Harris Tweed.
I promise I'm not trying to. No one's paying me to advertise this stuff. But I've got one more product to share. If you want to let me share my screen.
I see shoes.
So I was advertising these on Twitter because I bought 2 pairs of leather shoes from this company now, and these shoes, let me tell you, I wore them every single day. Like when I'd already rebuked wearing trainers. I was wearing these to work on the weekend, like on walks, muddy country roads, everything. Like I took these shoes everywhere, and it took more than a year for it's actually not this exact pair. It had a slightly different sole, but the sole got a hole in it, and the hole started getting pebbles in it from like the driveway. I was getting like pebbles rattling around in the sole of my shoe because the sole gave way before any of the leather ripped, and that's when I really started to appreciate leather. And these are not expensive. These cost I think £70 £70. It's like don't buy them every week, but I think most people can probably afford £70 on shoes if you're buying them once every 2 years.
I'll do some saving and I'll get there. But I live in a hobbit hole in
Save every penny.
Saving every penny. As I said, I'm saving up for a pair of leather shoes, so I might have to have a look at that company. No, I can completely understand where you're coming from with the soul giving way, because I bought a pair of cheaper shoes, just some cheap sort of pull-up boots to go to work in, and yeah, they only lasted sort of 6 months, and I was through them. Again, with gravel and stones actually coming up through the sole, because the heels just gave way, the soles just gave way immediately. But even, we're talking about the leather being decent, but even a very decent pair of shoes, especially if they're handmade or leather, etc., the soles will last at least a year, if not more, and that's being worn 24/7. So it is worth buying more expensive items of clothing if, and I mean if, they are of a reputable brand, handmade either in this country, or where the materials will come from, so it's British wool or things like that, and they will last you a lifetime. It's worth doing. I've still got a coat that I bought when I was 15. I've got a trench coat, blue trench coat, woolen trench coat that I bought when I was 15, and I still have it. It's I've must have sewn up pockets about 5 times now, because they keep coming undone. I think I'm just going to replace the pockets, because I've put my hands through them so many times now. It needs a bit of patchwork here and there, but the outside of it is absolutely fine. I need to replace the buttons, but for a coat that's well over 10 years old, it's doing pretty well. Just do it.
Do you want a little bit of cringe to wrap up the show?
Let's wrap up the show with some cringe. Why not?
I said this to the Wamen hour chat, and I didn't get much response, but I think it really is worth showing.
It is cringe.
If you'll let me share it,
I might.
Yeah.
I mean, clicking on your random things that are popping up at the bottom of the screen.
I always hate sharing on YouTube, because you get my YouTube recommendations from which you can infer what I've been watching on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm just ruining
Here we go. So I saw this recommended to me when I was looking up 7 Days by Craig David for it was for research purposes for a book that I'm writing.
Again, just to clarify, this is research purposes, and this is all on Poe.
Okay. But I got recommended. I was just intrigued by a Muslim version of 7 Days.
7 Days, Muslim version. Vocals only, apparently. There's no video to this.
I don't know who doesn't know 7 Days by Craig David, but it's quite an explicit song. I guess it's not that explicit. It's not like a misogynistic rap or anything, but it's Craig David he's describing in this song how he meets a woman, and within a week he is making love to her, and he's really enjoying it. And it's just a song about how much he likes this woman. So I was intrigued by what a Muslim version of this would be, and I was shocked that it was actually kind of wholesome, and I liked it.
Oh no.
Which is why I wanted to share it. Actually, it doesn't have subtitles, so I hope you can hear it. Okay, just tell me if you can hear this. Nothing yet.
Listen, how are you getting married in 7 days when some people can't even get married in 7 years? We're coming over. We need to hear this story.
Can you hear it, buddy?
Yeah, we can hear it. It's a little bit quiet.
Okay. Yeah. The intro is like the, it's no music. It's no music.
On my way to the masjid, which was a couple blocks away from me now. As I walked through the subway, must have been about 3:15. In front of me stood a hijabi with a mother and a father. So I went up to her dad. I said, Uncle, can I have your number? Because when I asked for your daughter's hand, did he decline? No, didn't he mind? I don't think so. Was it for real? Wallahi, what was the deal? Hijabi was 24. What did she say? She smiled and looked away. I lowered my gaze and went on my way. I called my dad, told him about this girl. Then he called her father and he called me back and told me, son, I'll met this girl on Monday. Spoke to her father on Tuesday.
I don't know if we're going to get a copy strike for playing this for too long.
I think we get the gist, but
you get the idea. It's so I don't know what I was expecting, like some kind of parody, but this is just, in my opinion, this is just kind of like a wholesome
it's
description.
not even that bad. I was expecting it to be like really bad singing, but
yeah, the musical quality of it is quite good, but it's like it's extreme, right? Like
it's extreme. I feel like I should be judging it.
Muslims are known for having like very restrictive sexual morality and being very into arranged marriages and no sex before marriage, that kind of thing, and not even talking to women directly. Which are all things that are in this song.
It's the way he just says, "Oh, I saw a hijabi." That's it. Not I saw a woman. No.
Yeah.
No.
I saw. It's like the Muslim way of saying I saw a honey. I saw a marriageable woman.
Or as Boris Johnson would say, he saw a letterbox.
Yeah. Well, I just because we talk a lot about kind of traditional like courting norms and what we would like, what's a vision for a like a sexual marketplace that isn't completely degrading to both men and women, because it's such a it's so difficult for out there for people who want to get married. And I honestly think that we shouldn't be like adopting Islam en masse, but I think that if we look at modern Muslims, we get an idea of what it would look like to have that kind of sexual morality in a modern context, because they're the ones who are actually doing it. They're doing the arranged marriages, and obviously they take it too far. There's a lot of Muslims in the world, and a lot of them do bad things to women. Like, I'm not trying to defend all Islam. But there actually is a broad spectrum of like practices among Muslims, between being completely modern and sort of
this
Muslim in name only.
You want to go back to you're saying in modern times, whereas my brain instantly goes to no, traditional English, especially in the countryside. That's where I head to. And yes, it's not modern, but I mean, well, you came to our wedding. It wasn't modern. It was incredibly traditional.
Listen, Alex asked your father.
He did.
And your mother, if he could court you, and I think that's probably at that point it's more of a it's more of a courtesy than an actual, like, he was worried they might say no. But that's a step in the right direction, right? It's like
I think we were together for like 3 weeks, and then he introduced himself to my parents. I was avoiding it, but didn't win. I'm kidding.
I think that's it shows a good integration of family life and a willingness of exactly. It's like I'm serious about this woman. I want I don't mind meeting a family, and I think although a lot of people would balk at the idea that you couldn't even talk to a woman directly before you talk to her father first, in the way that's described in this song. I think it's more, it actually has more in common with our traditions than we might think, and it shouldn't be dismissed so easily, I think. We have to do it in a Christian way, though.
Yes. Yeah, let's not cross the religions here, Po. I think I'll be going a bit too far. But again, came to our wedding. It was not all of it was Christian. I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from, but I think I would definitely disagree in terms of I'm very much a traditionalist. But
do you want to hear more of the song? There is more.
Maybe skip forward a bit. Let's skip forward a little bit.
We'll skip past the chorus.
Yeah, just so we don't get enough copyright.
Spoke to a father figure on Sunday. Now, since her baby has come into my life, I give her all my time. We're talking and chilling. I'm having a dean and she has mine. But one thing that we told each other before we got together, that Allah's out forever. No matter what happens between us, we'll always turn to Allah.
Okay, I'm cringing now.
Oh my god! As soon as you played that second bit, That was it. The cringe level went through the roof. It's the no, even though we have each other, everything is Allah. And I'm like, no, you ruined it. Too far. Ruined it. Sorry. I don't do that.
In a Craig David song, like I feel like there is a way that you could do that in a non-cringy way, but like shoehorning it into a Craig David song is
just makes
this isn't the way.
No, absolutely ruined right there. Ruined it.
All right. I won't expose you to any more. That's it. Anything else for the show, or are you done?
No, I think with that, I mean, yeah, the photos we mentioned that we couldn't show because my laptop hates me, are on my Twitter of the great haul, as Poe put it. I'll repost it. I'll just tag you in it. Like this is the haul that everyone is jealous of. No, yeah, thank you for joining me, Poe. It was a bit of a chaotic stream, but those are always the best ones. And you ruined it with a cringe, so nice one for that.
Sometimes I forget I'm not running the show anymore, and I can't just inflict things on people anymore.
Inflict things on me. It's like I have no choice. I have to put up with this. No, it was good fun. Thank you for joining me, and we will endeavor to get Wamen Hour back up and running again. We've all been very, very busy, Wamen. Why is it so difficult to get women together? It's ridiculous. At the same time,
just busy. We're practicing what we preach, which involves getting offline and doing.
It is true. Yeah, getting offline. But as usual, if anybody has any Wamen friends or are a Wamen and they want to be part of Wamen Hour, pop me a message, and we'll get you on, because there's always room for more Wamen. But if anybody starts cat fights, they get kicked off.
Wow.
Brutal.
That's never happened, by the way.
It's never happened. Not under our watch. No, we behave most of the time. Yeah, no, thank you, Poe, and until the next time.
Yep, let's not wait too long.
Oh, and just to clarify, no, I am not married to Mark.
Could have fooled me.
Not married to Mark.
You could do worse. You know, I think any woman watching, you know, Mark is available. So, well, as far as I know, actually, maybe he's not anymore. He's probably stopped watching. Anyone who's watching, there are marriageable young men who watch this show who have admirable morals. So please get in touch if you want Wamen Hour to be your matchmaking service, because we do know some singles in your area.
We'll do it. Hit us up. Good night.
Night.